Worth mentioning though. Can we need to, okay. We need to talk about it though. You can't help but bring up the fact that I feel like Washed has probably known for a while that they were going to come in and play Plague, and had you gotten that picking in time, you already have a decision here.
Yeah, that's insane, all right.
Hey, what it do? It's your boy Q, and welcome back to YouTube, and boy do we have a banger for you today. As some of y'all may know, we spend a lot of our time over on the weekends over with Direwolf and Dead by Esports, and last weekend we actually wrapped up round 1 of our holiday horrors over with DBE itself. And if you're interested in keeping up to date with like what the wolfpack is doing, what they've got going on as far as competitive Dead by Daylight, I'm going to leave a link for their Discord actually down in the description below. All right. But over in DBE in round 1, we've actually been doing something a little different from like your typical competitive match play, since it is like a best of 1 set. As far as like the series to get into the round of 16, we do not make teams play the same killer, although they are playing on the same map. Now, they are limited to their picks to a particular pool. In this case, it's particularly M1 killers. Our second matchup of round 1, however, needed a second set in order to determine a winner between Divine and Majoras, as we saw them play into a draw after 2 trials. And spoiler alert, an unfortunate penalty is what caused the game to go into overtime. But we did have 2 epic killers come out with some impressive performances as the Oni and the Plague, and have to run it back on Wrecker's Yard. It was a nail biter till the end for sure. So if you enjoy this type of video, do me a huge favor, leave a like and a comment below down on the video. That's also going to help us out with that good old YouTube algorithm. And also, if you make sure that you're subscribed, turn those notifications on, we can catch you right back here for that next video. All right. Oh, and feel free to like drop over on our stream sometime. We stream a couple of days a week. I'm also going to put a link for my personal Discord down in the description below, as always, as well, because we do hang out in there quite a bit too, okay? But until we catch you over on our stream, or just back here for the next video, don't forget, with everything crazy going on in the world today, be true, be you, be sincere, game hard and love harder. It's your boy Q, signing out.
Hello everyone, time to go into match number 2. Majoras and Divine are going to play on Wrecker's Yard, and we see another Oni coming out here by Fenner. Very nice pick, I feel like, because on Wrecker's Yard the resources can be pretty limited if the survivor team is not very efficient and very fast on the generators. So Finna might even try to get a basement hook to work around that in the shack here. We'll see about that though. For now, the survivors are keeping it quite safe, leaving the generators early, making sure the Oni is not getting any free injury. But we do see the brutal strength, and that reveals exactly the idea Fenner has here, getting rid of all the pallets as quick as possible.
Yeah, and we see actually, the survivors are doing a pretty good job here assisting in that early on, right? Seeing a lot of pre-throwing of pallets, which is kind of usual against an Oni. Obviously, you want to prevent the health state changes early on in the trial, because obviously that also helps start the process of Fenner here getting the power, which we are going to see here as far as with that early hit on the Fang. But you had mentioned might be looking at depleting a lot of resources. Here we have already got quite a few, not only resources down, but broken and out of the way. And we still have yet to see well, there's the first gen anyways. But we're also going to see that deadlock there. And kind of like we had mentioned previously in the matchup before, now we've only got 2 generators in the trial right now that can even be worked on.
Yeah, deadlock is, I think, something we will see a lot of times during the day here, especially also because you want to test it before you're going into the later rounds, right? You want to get an idea of how much value you really get. We do know that these survivor teams can keep gens on 99, but it's a good, like round 1 is a good chance to figure out the true value of deadlock for your killer, and then you can confidently maybe adjust your build in the later games. It's going to be interesting though if the M1 killers are actually going to use this, or if we will see after round 1 that was not the right idea. We're going to go for something different again. So this here also like a testing ground. Now Dave is going onto the hook here. And as we said, it is a hook in the basement here, which is huge for Majoras, as you have a really, really good time defending this on the Wrecker's Yard.
Yeah, so I can't help, even though I'm sure there was probably, you know, still a couple of seconds left before the wiggle off there. Sometimes when you see those, like the killers taking the longer walks, it's just like, oh, please don't wiggle off here. This is, especially on your first hook, that's the last thing you would hate to see. But we do see the save coming in rather quick. Now seeing Fenner going to be using the power to close the distance relatively quick with that dash there, getting a hit onto Dave there before Dave's able to get the vault through the window, and now going to be looking to try to secure another down here, moving towards the back corner around the broken truck here. We do see getting a nice little work all the way around the truck, however, not able to get the actual hit itself. Now actually moving into the jungle gym, and that's going to be a second down here using the power over its course.
That's a big move for Majoras here. Oh, Dave is getting picked up though. Oh, it was an unbreakable. Not entirely sure. So that's a huge instant response here by Divine. But still a lot of pressure, because either you got the unbreakable out of the way, or you made one survivor coming over, which takes a lot of time from the generators. And you also have your next hook stage now. So you have 2 hooks for 2 generators, which is usually not the result we see against an Oni, especially coming under pressure in the mid game, and then you almost need to make a move towards the late game here. So really huge for Fenner to get that already done. Dave is going down onto the floor once again, so it's another huge down here. Fenner right now in a really, really good position where he's constantly able to force at least one survivor into unhooking or healing, and I think towards the end game he can really profit from that.
Yeah, I agree. And also seeing here kind of how everything played out, right? With this, I would say the minimal scratch marks away from the person that was picked up, or you thought might have been picked up off the ground. I think we can probably, I think it's safe to say that was more than likely an unbreakable. We'll definitely want to check that at the end because I'm curious. But with that being the case, you know, it's an unbreakable you shouldn't have to worry about at the end of the game. Again, circling back to the fact that not only do you not have to worry about unbreakable, you've got a lot of resources already out of the way, and you've already acquired 3 health states, or 3 hook states. So Fenner definitely in a good place, especially with 3 survivors in the trial right now that are all injured too.
Yeah, the injury is huge to mention, right? Because Oni has to work so hard for that first down, and the grab coming out here into the kill. Dave really unfortunate here, landing on the hook the 3rd time now, so that's the elimination. Now you're in a 3v1, and as you mentioned, a lot of survivors were injured, so you do potentially find a ton of blood around the area, some orbs over here, and that should guarantee a new power for the Oni. That brings mobility, that brings pressure, that forces the survivor into very careful moves, and we have seen Fenner getting a double down before, so getting the power again with 2 gens and 3 survivors standing could potentially be even more huge for Majoras here. I don't want to say Fenner is about to maybe pull the 4K here, because the survivors still have a lot of pressure, as we can see here with the 4th gen. Ooh, nice. But Fenner seems really confident on the Oni today.
Yeah, I mean, Fenner definitely seemed like they were confident from the get-go, but it seems like as they continue to build pressure, I mean, I feel like it's anybody, right? It's even like when you think about in sports, when you're feeling good, your game just seems to improve as the game is going on. We're seeing that here. You talked about the confidence as we move across the map. Now, once again, with plenty of time left on the power, coming across the map, even though we do have a down survivor going to be coming over here towards the broken down truck area where we did have that generator that was covered up by that deadlock. However, after a quick rotation around the map, we didn't really see too much done on those gens, so I really like this decision to go for the pickup with still, I would say, was that about a 1/3 left as far as on your power charge?
Yeah, and it's a huge one for the fact that you can travel around the map, you force all the survivors from it, and then you go back for the pickup. You can almost be sure that nothing happens in your back, because everyone needs to be super, super careful. Even if you pick up and they hop back at the generator, that's 5 or 10% progress here. So Fenner making good calculations with that as well, and going after the Nia now. That is going to be the drop on the pallet here, and what a ping it! But a very nice mind game here. I wasn't even sure. Like, I don't think there was really the ping difference. I just think the Nia just screamed very late right there. With D, that's your turn.
Slaps him with the D, baby.
So another D strike today, leading into a longer chase, and I feel like that's something Divine really needed right now.
Yeah, that's definitely going to get you some very, very valuable time here, because we were seeing a very good job of basically Fenner was able to get a hook, was able to get into another chase, and there wasn't really much progress getting done. But now here, at least this chase in particular is going to be prolonged a little bit here, maybe even allowing the two survivors to double up onto a gen. But there is going to be a down here. Again, we're seeing Fenner playing very confident, and I like this play here. Now with still about half of the time left in the power, coming back across the map, putting pressure onto these gens. Going to be interested to see if we're going to be able to find a survivor while we still have a little bit of time left. Oh, gets done, stupid. Plus 10 wood to the face, and now a little bit more distance is going to be built too.
And if Max survives for a little bit longer, the power will run out. The firecracker is going to make it happen. What a play was that? We talked about agony and the firecrackers like this, but for this firecracker, sign this man up. Put him on agony. That was an insane firecracker right there, just making the Oni to miss one more attack and get healthy out of the power here. Super huge move by Divine, and we talked about the time coming out from the D strike. Now we talk about time from denying this down and keep the Oni on a run. The last generator has some progress here. Fenner potentially finds the power one more time, or should find it one more time, maybe even two more times. So do you think Divine is going to take some risk now to get the generator done, or do you pull back, try to hide out the power the next time, and then come reformed and reorganized?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's probably what we're going to see, especially because we saw a couple of injured states kind of stay injured for a while as they were trying to get a little progress on the on the generators. At least now you've got blood orbs all over the place, so it's kind of hard for our killer here to be able to exactly track which way they're coming and which way they're going. But we do see some scratch marks over here. We are going to see some distance getting close over here, and that's going to be a really nice down onto one of our survivors. That's going to be down onto hitboxes here. And we are going to see an early pickup. I like this play because it's going to allow you to get secure yourself another hook here. That is also going to be a fresh hook, which is going to be the additional point there as well. Plus, now you're going to see here, as well as we come over to this gen with the kick, we're also going to see that pop goes the Weasel with 25% instant regression.
Yeah, it was a very nice decision here to go for the instant hook. We have seen Fenner making basically the decision between slugging or hooking with almost perfection, always having the right idea. Now the power back as well. Now you have the mobility. Now you can go maybe slug some survivors. So Fenner here just with a really nice calculation of time and the resources going to chase with the Michaela needs to wait here a little bit, and this might be another down coming out for Fenner. That is going to happen. Coolio going down onto the floor here. That will be second stage for this survivor. Every survivor has been hooked one time so far, so that's a lot of points towards Majoras there. This survivor here is about to be removed from the trial pretty soon as well, with the D-strike already removed. So you potentially stand against two survivors in a few seconds.
Yeah, and also keep in mind, we're pretty confident we had seen the Unbreakable earlier too, right? So you've got a lot of those kind of those one-off perks that we do see happen to be in the meta quite often. They have probably already been removed from the trial. Also too, with everyone already being passed, you don't have to worry about any sort of deliverance or anything. So at this point, with it being a 2v1 and having a hook basically in the middle of your 3G, your 3gen over here, you're kind of just smooth sailing.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? Because the 3-gen setup is important to mention here, and Fenner secured all the pop kicks perfectly so far. The survivors really trying, and I really like how Divine pressured this last generator towards 60-70%, then taking it down too quickly, and now, as you say, also on the wrong side of the map here next to the 3-gens, and that is going to be the camp on Michaela to death. Very nice decision here, really using your environment, using the location you're currently guarding your hook, forcing the kill here, and that is going to be another down now. So hitboxes, the final survivor standing here, and we see them in the background actually as they're trying to get away. So potentially there was an end game play planned and pulling Mag away from the generators and making sure she can either go for the hatch or the exit doors here. Now located though, unbreakable very likely already removed, as we saw something earlier. So oh, actually, that's something. It was a different survivor earlier. It didn't look like that. So you do have an unbreakable. So Mag here with a phenomenal chase, putting the survivor back. But you need a perfect chase if you want Nia to complete that final generator.
Yeah, definitely. Now, at least the good news for you, if you are the survivors, is Fenner did just lose the power there, right? So you don't have that demon dash, so you don't have the additional speed. You might be able to build some distance working around some of your loops here using the last bit of these resources that are left on the map, especially because you are away from the gens. We do see Fenner, though, breaking chase. I think making the right decision here if you are trying to go for the 4K. We do see, though, this generator has 0 progress on it. Remember how much progress that thing had on it earlier? So I think this is the one that has the most progress, and that's not even at 50%. That's crazy.
Yeah, it is. Fenner did so well on keeping the gens under control here, and built his 3-gen setup, forced hook stages in there. Nice dodge here though by the Nia. Really beautiful play by Divine's survivors now, and that's what was what I was mentioning, that I like the fight of Divine here and what they are putting up, because there was a really beautiful response to the attack coming in from Fenner. Mag again the last survivor standing, this time definitely no unbreakable at the team anymore, so you do need to find your teammate, pick them up, or you've set yourself up for an endgame play here. Endgame play wouldn't be the worst idea, I feel like. Depends on where the exit gates are. One is over here, one is... It seems like split doors, so you could make something happen in case, especially you do have a wake up, not aware which survivor that is. But at this point, as you have been only one time hooked, it feels like endgame play would be a good decision. But Mag is getting located.
Yeah, very unfortunate for our survivors here. Meg being spotted before Fenner was really kind of forced to make the decision of either going for the survivor who is on the floor or actually trying to continue locating our Meg here. Hitboxes now jumping into the locker, getting snatched out there. That is going to be up onto the hook for Hitboxes here. And Fenner should have a relatively decent idea of where that slug was. I believe like Fenner had seen him not too long ago. So as long as they can locate the slug, I mean, that's going to be a 4K. Talk about a really strong way to start off your day, especially with it only being a best of 1 series.
Yeah, it puts yourself in such a good spot, right? Because at this point, we talked about it in previous events. If you can go into a match where you do need to worry about escaping on the survivor side, it's just an insane feeling. You mentioned earlier, like, you're just sailing safely and you can just enjoy the flow. And I feel like that's really what Majoras can do now. They can really thank their killer here for an insane performance putting them up. So looking onto that, you need a 4K on 2 gens up to win now, or on 1 gen to tie. Do you try... I don't even know which killer it is, to be honest. I haven't checked this channel of Divine yet, and I probably won't.
Do it.
Yeah, I won't do it for the surprise. But do you... I don't know, maybe we see a Thanatophobia for this little bit of extra slowdown, or Ruin Undying, maybe the risky, I put my hope into Hex's combination in case it works. It's a huge value. What do you think?
Yeah, I think you go with something like a... Oh man, because it's Wrecker's Yard, and of course Wrecker's Yard's really not the best for giving you like good hiding spots for your totem. So I don't know if I go full send as far as a Ruin Undying, but maybe do like a Ruin Thana.
Yeah.
I don't know, because then, I mean, do you do like Ruin Thana pop? That way, even like once your Ruin's gone, you still have your pop plus your slowdown from Thana. That way you at least have, I think that's probably going to be your best like full bet, because then you always have something working in your favor. Like, it's kind of unfortunate if your Ruin stays up and you're not getting like the value from your 4th perk, but at the same time, if your Ruin's staying up that long, that's like huge value, right?
Yeah, I have to agree with that, because you do also have the perk slots, right? Because the know it and the no way out, you definitely don't need, because at this point, when this comes, the win condition would be already met. So Tanner, Ruin, Pop, and your Corrupt would be definitely something you can make something. And then you maybe check your X Totem 1 or 2 times more often, have a Survivor rotating over, get them into a chase. Could really work out here. We definitely know that Divine's killer Wash needs to put up a very good performance here on the killer side. 2 gens standing for the win, 1 gen standing for the tie. So that is going to be an interesting match here. Divine on killer, Rackers Yard, and we will be back after a break. Alright everyone, we are back with Majoras and Divine, 28-6 with the Plague here on Rackers Yard. You will ask yourself, why is it 6 and not 8 points? They got 4 generators done. That is correct, but you need to report your killer before we are going into the first trial. Teams have been reminded about this 1 hour before their match, and this rule exists based on the fact that you do get a little bit of advantage if you can pick your killer based on the result in round 1. Let's remember, for example, the agony score. There we had something where 1 survivor needs to die. If you have a win condition like that, it might be good to know to pick Leatherface and make sure 1 survivor is going on hook and can't be rescued by anyone. So there's a little bit of potential for an advantage if you don't report your killer and pick based on that. So it is a -2 coming out for Divine here. And if there's one team at the moment that didn't need and didn't want a point penalty in terms of win condition, I have to say, then it was definitely Divine.
Yeah, it definitely puts more pressure onto Divine here, but you know, Plague with the changes recently, and we do see a lot of survivors already getting infected across the map. This is a smaller map as well. I mean, Wash has the ability to put some... Oh, from way downtown. Wow. What a shot there. Oh, my goodness.
Wow, that was a... That's... We just talked about you don't want the point penalty, right? But a shot like this is bringing yourself in a good mindset again, because it does give you some hope. And we have seen Divine fighting, even though Fenner was able to really counterplay everything they tried with the Oni here. First stage coming out, 4 gens remaining, and this shot really gives you some good feelings here moving forward. We do also have the Ruin Undying, actually, so the double axe here, and not going for just Ruin and 1 backup or something. So very interesting choice here. For now, it really works. And I feel like if this Ruin and Undying is standing for longer, that is potentially a huge move for our Plague here.
Yeah, especially there getting it down. We also have an aura across the way there. I'm guessing that's probably some Undying value that we've got kicking in there for Wash, which is good because it gives you a little bit of location here. And knowing that you need to be shutting them down here, basically, what now at this point, 3 gens. So just 1 more gen complete. You kind of have some extra information to try and build some snowball here. There's a second hook state now going to be coming here to try and pick up your slug. Unfortunately, we do see our slug getting picked up across the way, so our survivor squad doing a good job pushing back a little bit. But Wash now is going to pick up this corrupt purge and can still still build up a little bit of pressure here.
Well, I have to say, Wash with really great pukes here from the Plague. Really good. Almost sniping on the survivors now. And we do see someone getting interrupted from the clans there. That is Raiden. This time Raiden is going to survive this. Raiden would, however, be dead. So that would be forcing the survivor into 3v1 situation, which would be really huge, because we do only can let go 1 more gen for the tie here, and removing this survivor from the trial, we can only hope it's not the S for Divine here. It actually is. That might change everything around.
Slaps them with the D, baby.
That might change everything.
Yeah, this is going to be huge, because now it's going to be some extra time to be put up here. Actually, a very nice shot, though, by Wash to be able to secure a down relatively quickly, but that still is valuable seconds here to be able to get at least the 3rd gen, and if we're splitting that pressure, maybe even a 4th gen as well, to be able to just move on to the next round.
Yeah, it's huge, right? Because one more gen definitely, and then we have the tie situation, which would be just really, really interesting here today. And two more for Majoras would be the win. That also makes it more difficult, right? Because if you can have one gen standing, you don't need to worry about any 3 gen here on the map. You do not need to worry about the gen setup, about the locations, about the pressure. You just stick to your gens. You just get them out of the way. Whichever gen, as long as we get it, it's important for us here. But Washed, I really love this slug play right now. Because the great mind games as well. Let's go.
This could be huge because you do now have 2 slugs. This is where Claudette is going to be forced into a decision. Do you get people off of the hooks, especially knowing that we still have Ruin and Undying in play, which means that if they are on a gen, that gen will instantly start regressing. But they are the only one who can make a save. There's at least going to be the gen across the way here, so that's going to at least get you to the point where you can render a tie. But even after a very rough trial number 1, Washed could still tie things up here.
Yeah, that is insane, right? Because if Wash kills this Mac and we do not see an Unbreakable, this will actually be a tie. This is going to be a tie between these 2 teams. We're going to go back on Wrecker's Yard. Teams can pick the killer again. They can even repeat the killer they played so far. I believe. I need to check how the wording of the rule is. I do think they can... I don't think there is a wording of multiple killers because it's a tiebreaker round. So if they want to, they can just bring out the Plague once again if they feel confident with that. So that is a huge one right here. Do you think you go with the same, or would you switch your killers around?
Oh man, you know, that's a really good question because both teams, I feel like, came out obviously on the killer side and played very, very confidently here. Worth mentioning though, we need to talk about it though. You can't help but bring up the fact that I feel like Washed has probably known for a while that they were going to come in and play Plague, and had you gotten that picking in time, you already have a decision here.
Yeah, that's the insane one, right? Because they didn't report their killer. That's the 2. They would have won here. You're right. It's the tie because Divine did not report their killer, and that's super unfortunate because we just reminded them now. Like, I don't want to put too much on that now and say like, Divine, you forgot something, but it's unfortunate because imagine you now lose the tiebreaker and then it all comes down to reporting your killer before you're going into the match. That would be really, really huge. But I feel like I actually just checked. You can bring out the same killers if you want. There's no restriction for the tiebreaker set here. So as you say, both killers did so well. We might see Oni versus Plague once again.
Yeah, I'm going to be interested to see, because, you know, with Wrecker's Yard, with the size on the map, I mean, it does allow for a lot of killers that you would typically not really think have a chance to still put up some impressive performances, kind of like we saw here from both the Oni and Plague. Here's the worry is, if I'm coming out here on the Oni, am I changing out my build? If I'm coming out on the Plague, am I changing up my approach? Because obviously, the survivors will have had some time to think about what they did wrong in the trial before, right?
Yeah, that's true. You can make some analyze now, because it comes down to, like, both teams got 4K'd here, which shows that the killers had really a chance to put pressure on these survivor teams. So you can take some moments now, talk about that, refresh your mind, and then you're going back in. We are going to set the tiebreaker matchup. It is going to be on Wrecker's Yard once again, and we will show you the decision between... This is so exciting. I love this. We are going to show you that decision-making between Majoras and Divine after a little break. Alright everyone, Majoras and Divine are gonna try to figure out a winner here in the tiebreaker now. We are on a score of 34-34, and we are now seeing Divine straight on killer again, and you can see that Washed is absolutely confident with the killer here. They are going to play the Plague once again, which is, in my opinion, a very understandable decision after you just got a 4K here. We also see the Ruin Undying again, so the perk combo that really worked out in your favor before.
Yeah, I think especially since like you're going right back into the trial, right? Like it's not like the Survivor Squad got to sit on and like watch a whole nother trial and talk about what broke down. Like in this case, like if it ain't broke, don't fix it. This setup here, these 4 perks worked last round. Just you got out of the trial, just ready right back up and do it again. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you just repeat your... I mean, we say it's so easy, right? You repeat your performance, you show that once again. I think Washed is under a lot of pressure right now. Because these survivors right now, I have to say, seem a bit quicker on the generators here. And we can actually see, very interesting, they are now going to double up on the gens to get the gen done. And then for this generator, you don't need to worry about the ruin anymore. They are also way quicker with the Undying this time. And we have to say Majoras brought Fenner in on the survivor side now. So you adjusted your roster, you adjusted your strategy, you adjusted your speed, and that's really huge to see, and a change in your game plan after such a short amount of time here.
Yeah, but I mean, sometimes we do see where, sometimes just a little bit of chemistry amongst the survivors can be a huge difference. I mean, we are also seeing here the Ruin and the Undying being cleansed very early. This is going to be big for the survivors here now, because now you can kind of be left with a couple of decisions. You do have a survivor that is going to be over here, and they are up amongst 2 gens, but over on this side of the map, as you see, you've got a decent 4-gen setup that's kind of away from the hook. So if I'm the survivors, I'm probably prioritizing that over a hook state, to be honest.
Yeah, that's true, right? Because I feel like these 2 teams are going to decide so much about their pressure that is coming on mid-game, and then you'd maybe even go for some crazy slugs later on, because maybe we do see it coming down to the number of generators once again that gets completed here. We do have the survivor already in 2nd stage again, so you do have a survivor ready to be tunneled out from the trial. It's very different this time though, as we have Ruin Undying gone, so it's not going to be enough for Washed anymore to push a survivor away from a generator and then take the regression from that. So I think Majoras, compared to the previous trial, is in a way better spot here.
Yeah, and we are going to see, ooh, nice little spicy movement with the dodge of the puke, and then able to get back across the pallet as well. You talked about it. Fenner was the secret weapon that Majoras brought out here that was different in this set. Now having the spicy plays here to really delay things here in the mid-game. I also, it's worth noting here, you'll see that our survivors are going with the cleanse option here. I like that, and I think it's smart, because obviously you're not going to see Washed wait for the power to get out of, or to come out of his power to try and make Fenner sick, right? So now with nobody else being sick, you're making this next chase. The chances of it being prolonged are that much more increased, because now they're not even sick, right?
Yeah, it's huge for Majoras here to be completely safe, because even with the Corrupt Purge, you can take 1 puke, make some distance, and then you can try hide behind a jungle gym, or you just hold W towards the map corner, but you need 2 pukes now to go down onto the floor. And even though the Corrupt Purge is really powerful, we can see it here on the ace. You make it around this corner, you make it around this corner. Majoras having all survivors non-injured is a really, really huge move here, and takes so much time. And now just holding W around this tile here is so huge and can take so much time. They get the unhook now in the distance. You do get a fresh hook onto ace though, but we do have 4 stages so far. However, 3 gens are still standing, so Washed here still with a good eye on the generators, and if the mid game is able for him to take a little bit over, he might still be in a very strong spot.
Yeah, I mean, we are seeing right now where our survivor squad is definitely spreading pressure amongst the gens. We do still have a 3-gen over here on this portion that Washed is defending. And honestly, Washed would probably be okay if that far gen happens to get complete. I would be kind of surprised to see Washed actually spend the time going all the way over there, especially with a hooked survivor being right next to your 3-gen here as well. And especially now, too, we're going to see Washed go ahead and take that Corrupt Purge, and just I think at this point you just protect your 3-gen and kind of let the regression kick in a little bit and make the survivors make the mistake here.
Yeah, survivor and mistake is the big one, for especially for the M1 killers, right? Because Majoras can make the decision here to just get out that generator number 4 to cast this curse in a positive way. We just see the 4th generator in the distance. But now we are back to a 3-gen setup right here. And that's a huge find right here. If Fenner goes down right here, that would be so close to the hook that might work out for Washed here. Fenner doing some dodges, but that's the down now. Raiden is potentially getting safe, but you still have the power. This is exactly what you said, a mistake from the Survivor team, and now they are down very close to the hooked Survivor. That's your chance right now as a killer.
Yeah, now you've got another corrupt pool here as well to be able to extend this power. You've been able to find a Nia here as well. You are working around, I would say, one of the stronger filler palettes. I know, like, stronger and filler palette is kind of like a very weird oxymoron in a very weird way, but it does make it so you have a little bit more time that you can be wasting. I would imagine with the time there, that was probably going to be the Zarina that moved in there to get the pickup onto the Atom, which is going to be big, but that also means that that's more time by our survivors that was spent, 1, not getting the save here, and 2, not working on the generators.
Yeah, the generator is now huge, right? Because it was in both trials, we have to say, Divine and Majoras, the problem that caused this 4K on the few generators left. And now we're chasing also here close to the generators. And if Washed is able to put Zarina onto the ground here really quickly, she would also be removed from the trial. So then you would be at 2v1 again. As we are now dragging the killer away from the gen, if the 2 standing survivors would double up there, that might be enough. We actually see them rotating over in the distance. Washed needs to make a decision here. It's all about time now. How much time do you have to chase? How much time do you have for a generator? The power will run out now. I will say, if Majoras is being careful here, they should get the last generator.
I don't know how our killers compose their nerves sometimes. Like, just watching right now, like, I am feeling my anxiety going up, like, knowing that you've got 2 people behind you. You see you don't have any heals coming in, so they're probably working on some gens. This is intense, and we do see Watch doing a very good job, actually, of just kind of keeping very cool, calm, collected, always stays very, like, focused on the objective, always is making sure that, like, they are tracking somebody, right? We've actually tracked one of our injured survivors, and if you're able to get this down over here, this could be big for you. You need to get it down quick. There's another pallet going down, though. You do have a corrupt pull over here. Might be worth possibly taking some time to get that and making a playback over towards your 3-gen.
Yeah. Oh, actually, getting the vault there, that was a good mind game here by Washed, forcing Zarina into the situation now at the edge map. We see Fenner and Skyrazer not going for any cleanses here, and not a heal as well. And there's the last generator coming out. So Majoras increased their performance here for sure. Nia is the one survivor you would like to find now, because Nia is the fresh hook. Adam has been hooked once. Still good if you catch the Adam in time, but you really want to make sure that Skyrazer, who just cleansed, is going to be the survivor that is staying on the hook here.
Yeah, and that's going to be a little bit of information that we got right there, because we do see the pool that's right here in front of Washed was picked up not too long ago, and they could be potentially working on this door over here. There's no progress, though, and there was also no progress on that far door when we had just passed it here. So we do see that Washed may be able to secure one more hook, which could lead to an additional elimination as well. You had mentioned that the Nia would be the ideal candidate for that, and that is who we have tracked here. There is going to be some distance made. We're going to be going to the TNL. Here's going to be Washed. This is going to be a foot race over towards the other side of the map. The unfortunate news for the survivors here is that the Atom is sick and cannot take a health state hit or anything like that. We are going to see the Atom taking me out, and we're going to see possibly, I was going to say maybe see a hatch play, but that is going to be a down. And you mentioned it, that's going to be the 3 states that you wanted to get here for Wash. So maybe not the performance from what was the regulation trial, but definitely still a very, very good trial here in overtime.
Yeah, and this fresh hook, right? You have 4 fresh hooks now, which puts a lot of pressure onto Majoras, and you do have a 10-stage game. So that is, even you do go for a higher one now, Majora's killer still needs to put up an amazing performance here to counter that and make up for that. Actually, the killer here doubled the score of these survivors. It's going to be a 24-12. So Majora's is moving up to 58 now. and Divine is going to 46. So 12 points difference here for Majoras in the last set. Actually, I just pulled the points the wrong way around. Never mind, don't mind. There we go. 46-58 for Divine here. So your killer needs 10 stages with 4 hooked. So you basically need 11 stages to win this. That almost equals a 4K. Do you think we now see something like Ruin Undying coming out? Ruin Undying again? Or do you switch to a No Way Out It?
Well, I mean, you do have the benefit as the killer this time around that you know that all the gens got done, right? So you can, if you want, go for the No Way Out No Ed combo. The worry, though, is knowing that our killer pool is kind of more of our, typical M1s. And Wrecker's Yard, even though it is a smaller map, which means the killers can be more efficient, it does mean our survivors can be more efficient, as we've seen constantly, even through some very strong killer performance here. And I feel like by going with 2 late game perks plus a corrupt, you're really only sitting on 1 perk after the first 2 minutes of the game, right?
Yeah, that's true. You need something to defend that. I seeing Fenner doing so well with the pop earlier, I don't think it's going to... Maybe we go for your combo now with the Ruin, pop, Thanatophobia. That sounds like something where you have really a strong backup for your mid game. It's going to be interesting to find out here. We're going into the ping test with Fenner from Majoras, and we're going to show you the match after a break.
All right, and here we are back with Majoras out back on the killer side here versus Divine. We are in the overtime rounds here. Fenner needing 11 stages, essentially. Or, just go ahead and get the 4K if you really just feel like going the full extra mile there. But we are in the overtime round here, so all the pressure definitely got to be feeling like it's on really on both sides here, knowing that you've already played 3 trials in a best-of-1 series, right?
Yeah, because as you say, normally trial 3 and 4 is something the teams are used to, but now it's under a completely new context, right? Because yeah, it's trial number 3, but same as before, every mistake is so huge, and every play, every idea might change everything around, as we are now really need to find a winner here between Majoras and Divine. Fenner once again with the brutal strength, trying to get the pallets out as quick as possible, and it does work. And the zoning is also very, very good here. Gets the first tag onto the detective tab here before a generator is getting completed. Now you can run after the survivor and pick up some blood ops, but instead Fenner going cross map to interrupt some survivors here on the generators. I like that play. You do delay the first generator potentially a little bit longer. However, you need to hit a survivor again with your attack, which might be a really, really difficult job and buy some time. But he does find the injured survivor again, so that's going to be the power pretty soon.
Yeah, we are going to have that power here pretty soon. Worth noting, though, and kind of interesting, noting that you are coming into a situation, especially with the killer like an Oni, that tends to struggle a little bit in the early game. You saw when we pushed survivors off of those gens, we are not coming in with any sort of ruin or anything. Very nice shot, though, onto the Michaela here. And we are going to go with the pickup. I like this play here, especially because you are going to get a hook. It looks like probably going to be in the basement. And then you're still relatively close to being back into your power again, right?
Yeah, that's just huge, right? Because it helps you so much. We talked about it at the Billy set as well. These M1 killers that come with some sort of mobility is really, really huge to keep your territory, to keep an eye, to get information, to put pressure on these survivors from time to time. And having the power very soon back up again is going to work out really huge. Nice stun here, though. But it is another pallet that is taken out of the way. I feel like Fenner removed a lot of resources from the map. They are quick with the save here, coming out of the basement. That might be the rescuer Lori taking a hit here very soon. And we can see that Fenner is opting to go for the tunnel out. So same as Wash, you're trying to set yourself in a 3v1 very soon. And if you get Michaela back on the floor in potentially just a few moments, you set yourself up for a really, really good spot.
Yeah, and we do see here, though, instead actually breaking the chase. I mean, I do think that is a smart play. Sees as maybe you can come over here and find one of your injured or one of your non-injured survivors, right? While you have that one shot down capability. Also knowing that you're going to be able to put some pressure onto some gens here as well. But, you know, you had talked about it multiple times. Fenner has to have a very strong game, which means putting up a lot of pressure. And right now, we're seeing that only one hook state. Yeah, there has only been one generator pop, but we're seeing as we run around the map a lot of gens with a decent amount of progress here. There is going to be the down here onto Coolio, though. Back up onto the shoulder you go, and we are going to see pretty much all of the power has been consumed, so it's going to take a little bit of time for Fenner to get back into that power frame there. And that is going to be generator number 2 getting complete. And we do see, though, generator did get covered up by the deadlock. There has a lot of progress.
Yeah, that's huge here, right? Because you do have the hook right next to it. So while camping, you do have an eye on the generator. You can be sure no survivor is working on that deadlock generator right now. And if it expires, you might place a perk on it. Never mind, it's going to be the pop kick over here. So Fenner going for this defension over here. The survivor now getting rescued. Dwight trying to be a little bit of distraction here. There is a huge tag if you get it for your power, though. But it does take some time, and it does take the focus also from the Michaela. And chasing Dwight will not result in a 3v1 situation. So Hitbox is taking the aggression here from the killer is definitely a big move, because now Michaela was able to go cross with Coolio already with the reset here against the Oni. So now the one survivor you want to see dead, or you could kill very soon, is back to healthy. So you do need to find them again, and you need to use your power in a really, really good way.
Yeah, and this use of the power here is really going to be critical for Fenner, because we did see the kick there onto that gen. That was a dry kick, and it had a lot of progress on it there. We are going to see now taking chase around the actual jungle gym itself. Oh no, we didn't get the hit. I thought we were going to get the hit there before the actual pallet, but instead actually going to continue the chase here. But you had mentioned earlier, we've removed a lot of the resources around the area, now also including that actual pallet itself, now going to force the animation of the locker, retrieving the survivor from the locker, and that is going to be Coolio being taken out of this game. And we do hear this generator right here. It had a lot of progress, and again getting covered up by the deadlock.
Yeah, that is a very, very good move now, getting that removal from the trial done. This is going to be a really close one, though, but it is going to be in time here. Pop kick on this one. You do have the same generator with the deadlock once again, so you do hold the survivors back for quite some more time. But same as in the Plague set, we can see a survivor team that is a lot more organized, that puts a lot more pressure across the board, and that is having made some adjustments in their overall technical approach here for the match. One gen getting completed in the distance. I feel like if the one that just got popped has another survivor on it again and gets pressured, they might take out the last generator really soon. And in this case, you need to make a speed run towards the end game here. So getting this next power is going to be nearly the last chance potentially to down someone and hook someone before it's getting critical in the end game.
Yeah, now things is where, you know, the decisions get interesting for Fenner, right? Like, you know that you have to have a very impressive trial here. You do see you have 2 injured survivors, but do I, you know, if you get yourself a down here, do I instantly go for a hook, or do I try and go for a slug and try and build up the entirety of the pressure, knowing that, you know, again, you've got to stack up, what, 8 more hooks before the end of the trial here, and we've got 2 gens that have a lot of progress. This is going to be insane, but we are going to see Fenner popping that power now, actually going to be seeing if they can locate that reset location, but now with the all of our survivors back to full health, once this power is expunged here, that pretty well, I mean, puts the survivors in complete control.
Yeah, if this power gets survived, I agree, then the survivors have everything in their favor, and we see them realizing that as well. They are doing a complete stealth. You do need to survive potentially 20 more seconds here to see yourself in a safe spot, and Fenner is trying to find them. Fenner is trying to make a move. Maybe you want to check some lockers here. We do see that now, but Divine with a huge idea here towards the late mid game, and if that's gonna work out, 5 seconds on the power left, that is not going to be enough. Last flick, not gonna happen. So now you're in a good spot, 3 survivors, but everyone healthy and no power.
Yeah, and this is going to be interesting because now, I mean, sure, you've removed a lot of the resources, but you have what, very minimal progress towards your power right now. I don't see any. Well, there's a couple of blood orbs over there, but even with that little bit of a collection over there, I don't think it's going to be enough. No injured survivors either, and now they do have the ability, kind of like we're seeing Lori is going to be able to hold and over to get to a fun buzz with just being able to basically hold W as soon as you hear the heartbeat.
Yeah, that's the big move, right? Because holding W is so powerful against these killers. Again, the mobility, the big factor here. So, you know, it comes down to some time calculations now. And we do see the Lori here leaving super early. Divine with a completely new idea for this game. Instead of pressuring the gens and trying to get the killer in a bad spot based on how quick they are now setting themselves up for a play where they are really careful and not giving out anything towards our killer player here. So Fenner needs to find a new idea here, but I feel like this is one of these situations where unless a survivor is making a mistake now, you cannot do really much, because we have to say Fenner did a really good job in both games so far. Has the generator still standing? That shows how powerful he is as killer, and that the survivors are not able to get that last generator done so far. However, if they're not making a mistake here, it feels like Fenner is in a really difficult position.
Yeah, and here's where things get kind of interesting, because this is almost, it feels like this is going to be sort of like the methodical sort of end game we're kind of used to seeing when we see like the twins come out, right? Like you see an interstate, they go across the map, they get reset, then they go back to attack the 3-gen. But with the condition that Divine has put themselves in to be able to get the win here, I mean, it's definitely well deserved. And I mean, why not take your time here if you've already put yourself into a lead?
Yeah, that's the interesting thing to mention, right? Because we're often talking about the mindset and how the pressure goes during the match here, and I feel like Divine, as you say, is in the good spot here, because you are the one that is deciding. If you don't give enough hook stages away, you take the win. You can take 9 stages, 10 stages, just don't give out the 11 stages and you are fine, which is still difficult against a killer like that. But on the survivor side here right now, if you play it careful, you have the control. And I feel like every additional second that is going away here and passing in this game is adding up some pressure towards our killer here, because the killer is in need of the points, as you mentioned. Actually, this is the chance now. That might be the down, but no. The Dwight here able to put the killer on a longer run, doing a really good job around these corners. A little bit of a mind game coming out. It is going to take some time. I'm not too sure of the generator progress. We haven't seen that much. A Lockaju coming out again. The power is running out. That's all seconds taken from the killer now. A lot of blood over here. You do get potentially an entire power back, but the question is, how much time do you really have? Fenner can't even hook this, as he's worried about the last generator.
Yeah, this is going to be tough. You had mentioned, you know, Jingle Dwight there had done a very good job of wasting a lot of the time. Even noticing here, this generator, remember last time we were over here, did not have very much progress. And, you know, we do see Fenner was able to get another down here. Things could be getting a little interesting. We are going to see hitboxes, though, getting either picked up or with the unbreakable. Oh, no, that had to have been an unbreakable if there is tap, right?
Yeah, there was an unbreakable, I'm pretty sure, because tap made it very fast over here, and now it seemed like they were going for the generators. Now I'm not too sure about Divine's play here, because they just got it down in the 3-gen setup, and you also give out another hit now, which allows another power run. I feel like potentially Divine a little bit too confident now after having such a control over the match.
Although I do gotta say, I feel like kind of interesting with worth noting with the decision there from Fenner. You have a down, you have your power, could have maybe earned yourself a pop on that gen, but you do go for the slug. However, we see very confident getting the one demon dashing it down, knowing that the one earlier was probably from a slug. That does mean that our last two survivors are going to be relatively close to the location of where this pickup was at. We have found Tap over here again, and Tap is going to go down here as well. This could be big if you can find Lori.
Yeah, Lori now the last survivor, and now we do see Fenner going for that hook here. You maybe realize that we see Lori actually. They're trying to get that last generator done, but it's not going to happen. You also have a pop kick if you really want to make sure this gen is not getting done anymore, but I'm pretty sure we do have an unbreakable that should be the final chase here, and Fenner should be able to secure his team a 4K. And then I have to say, Fenner 4K'd 2 times here with the Oni on Rack's Yard, which is just a phenomenal performance on the killer side.
Yeah, and unfortunately not able to get the play there with the firecracker. And you know, we did see that unbreakable across the way. So now, as long as you can secure your slugs, Fenner coming in. I gotta be honest, I thought the Survivor Squad had put themselves in a very, very good job. And I mean, Fenner just really coming in clutch. And I think what we saw here was a very good example of the spike in power that Oni gets when you have the snowball potential in your actual power itself, right?
Yeah, that's what I love also so much about Oni, this quick turn of events and how every single decision needs to be done so quickly across the trial to make sure nothing is happening. It might be actually interesting here if Hitboxes bleeds out Q. I don't know what that would be. That would shake some things around. Majoras, if they hook, Majoras would win with... Never mind, okay, they do get it done. So it is Majoras here on 74. And Divine is taking 8 points. So it is going to be 66. So that is going to be 74-66 now. Divine taking the win here. Majoras taking the win here over Divine after, I have to say again, 2 just incredible Oni performances.
Yeah, I don't want to be that guy, but it kind of is a big feels bad moment for Divine because we shouldn't have even been in overtime to begin with, right?
That is true, yeah. If you do report your killer, and that is actually for everyone, that is actually something to mention to everyone in this tournament, right? Make sure you do report your killer and not taking a potential advantage from picking your killer too late, because it does give you a little bit of a penalty if you do forget that and don't hand it in. So yeah, you're right, realistically Divine would have taken the win earlier, and therefore it is really bad that they lost the tiebreaker now, but it is what it is, right? And Majoras, I have to say, I would feel bad for Divine, but with 2 so wonderful Oni performances, I will say it feels still a little bit good.
Oh, for sure. Well, I mean, and I think both sides, though, can take some, I feel like, at least on their killer performances. I mean, even for Divine, right? Like, we saw 2 very strong Plague performances, but, you know, I'm going to say, I feel like I said it, I think I said it actually offline after the first trial. I was very surprised loading into this trial, seeing Majoras coming out with the Oni to start off the matchup. Then you go into a tie, and then you had the confidence to close it out with the Oni there, and really just keeping the composure throughout. Because again, I feel like the survivors had control for quite a bit of that last trial there, and you know, where a lot of killers I think would have allowed the nerves and the pressure to start to get to them. We just saw Fenner there just wait for the perfect opportunity to be able to bring home the dub.
Yeah, I have to say, coming back with the Oni is a huge move, right? Because Plague, you do have that You do have that infection, you do go for that, but Oni is so much about the other side needs to make a mistake for you to shine, and that Fenner was going for that pick again. I have to agree that it was a really huge move here, and that it worked out shows even more how confident Majoras is playing there. While we are talking about huge killer performances here by Washed and by Fenner, because the killers here really shining today, we have another one who's really known for the killer performance, and that's Zaka from Eternal. Eternal is going to play Entity now, and that is going to be a very interesting match as well. Eternal recently reformed and is now coming back, though. Zaka here on the killer side. I think we stay on the Wrecker's Yard, so we will be back for you in just a few minutes.